Topcoat is a modular, battery-included Rust framework for building full-stack applications, prioritizing simplicity and productivity. It is still early-stage and experimental, so expect breaking changes. The framework renders all markup on the server. That means components can be asynchronous and query databases directly, eliminating the traditional need for a separate API layer. When state changes, a special syntax expression inside a Vue macro runs on the server for the initial render and is automatically translated to JavaScript for instant execution in the browser, so the user doesn't experience a round trip to the server. If the component needs data from the server, say fresh search results, Topcoat allows you to mark the component as a shard. A shard is a component that re-renders on the server whenever one of its bound arguments changes. When a shard's arguments update, Topcoat rewrites the HTML and swaps it into the page, giving you dynamic server-side interactivity without a separate API. The framework provides a Vue macro that feels like writing plain HTML while still letting you use Rust control flow. Inside a Vue block you can loop over collections, conditionally add attributes, and insert Rust expressions. For example, in a navigation bar you could iterate over items, render an anchor tag for each, and add an active class when the item matches the current path. The macro is designed to stay true to the way HTML is written, resulting in templates that are familiar and readable. One of the strong points of Topcoat is its lightweight routing model. If you use a naming convention for your project files, the framework can infer the entire root tree from your module structure without any additional build step. For instance, a file named about.rs would automatically become the root about, while a nested file post-side.rs would result in a dynamic root with a post-id parameter. You can also define custom HTTP methods for roots, such as get for health checks. The UI system is built on Tailwind CSS and takes inspiration from the Shadcn UI library. When you run a command, Topcoat copies pre-built components into your project. From there you can freely edit the design and behavior of the components to fit your use case. The asset system scans your compiled binary for asset calls, copies or downloads the files into a local directory, and serves them with aggressive caching. Consequently, you can declare an image asset by referencing a Rust constant, and the framework will handle delivering a content URL to the browser. You don't have to write the usual boilerplate to get assets, fonts, or icons up and running. The framework bundles utilities for web fonts and icons, and it works easily with Google Fonts through a library called FontSource as well as with Iconify icon sets. All of this is available through a command line interface. By enabling a specific feature flag, you can import Tailwind into your project without having to install Node.js or write build scripts. You can also invoke a formatting command that automatically formats Vue, snippets, and other macros across your code base, keeping your templates clean and consistent. Topcoat offers a plethora of documentation for every part of the stack. There is a guide for getting started, formatting source code, and using the rendering macros. The router documentation explains how to create pages, layouts, and API routes, either manually or via auto-discovery. Working with requests is covered through the request context, shared application context, memoization for caching, session management, cookie handling, and so forth. The asset system is documented, as is the client-side reactivity model that covers signals, expressions, event handlers, and attribute bindings. There is also a section on UI components, third-party integrations like Tailwind CSS and HTMX, and the runtime details that power signals and shards. The roadmap for Topcoat includes a range of features that aim to make the framework more powerful and developer-friendly. The team plans to introduce a new command line command that scaffolds fully configured projects with minimal setup. There will also be support for static export, a richer reactivity model, more UI components, a block system for things like sign-in forms, email integration, validation utilities, open API endpoints, deployment guides, and static page pre-rendering. Future plans touch on streaming server-side rendering, client-side navigation with prefetching, WebSockets, server-side events, image optimization, easier middlewares such as rate limiting and compression, authentication, background jobs, and even a built-in Toasty integration for secure form handling. In summary, Topcoat offers an all-in-one Rust solution for building full-stack web applications. It eliminates the need for a separate API layer, embraces Rust's asynchronous capabilities, provides a straightforward template system that stays close to HTML, and offers a robust routing, asset, and UI framework, all while encouraging developer productivity and future-proofing.